Welcome to the demo session on business analysis for ESM systems. This session talks about three types of requirements: user, functional and non-functional.
Then today we'll be covering functional, non-functional, and user requirements. Okay. So today we are going to what, so one important concept that all of you will have to remember before going into a BA class is you need to understand that software is a product. Okay. A BA's job is like, BA's job is BA's job is to manage a product, right from the beginning or inception all the way to implementation. Okay. So, right from gathering requirements from the client all the way to making sure that correct product is implemented. So, anytime a product is developed, there are three major requirements associated with it. One is called user. One is called user. One is called functional. And another one is called non-functional. Okay. So we are going to look at the requirement phase. So within the requirement phase, okay, there are three types of requirements: user, functional, and non-functional. This user requirement, there are user meaning client. There are three types of clients or customers, or they are also called users. One is called internal. This is very important for a BA. Internal, external, and a third party vendor, TPV. Right now I'll call it as third party vendor. So we'll look at all the three together today. So, okay, all right. So putting it in a document here. So we are going to look at requirement phase. Okay. So we are going to have user, functional, and non-functional. Okay. So once again, user also means IT. Sometimes it's called business requirement. Sometimes business is less commonly used. Client requirement, customer requirement. So there are three types of users, at least. One is called internal, another one is called external, third party. So why you need to know? Because your role, depending on the user type, the BA's role is going to be different. Okay, BA's role is going to be slightly different. Okay. Okay. So first of all, let's take one at a time. So who is a user? Okay. Who is a user or client or business? Okay. User is one who is going to use the product, or for whom the IT team is developing the product. Okay. Developing the product. User client who is going to use the product, or for whom IT team is developing the product. Okay. So here is where there are different types of users. So this definition is slightly will be clearer once we see this definition. Internal. Who is an internal user? Okay. So I will explain it through an example. Who is an internal user, or what is an internal user? I will explain it through an example. 1 second, please. So review this example, so let's say as a BA, okay, as a BA you are working for AT&T, okay. So who is the user here? If you are as a, your role is your role, right? Your role is BA, okay. User, who is the user here? They are the ones who is going to, who will use the system on a day-to-day basis. For example, let's say billing department. Example is billing department. Who develops the product? The product is developed by AT&T software engineers. Okay. Why it is called internal product? Look at user. User is internal to the company. The product is being used is also internal in nature. That is only AT&T is using it. Right? The development work is also done by an internal team. The user is very much internal in nature. So, okay, it is an internal product. And you and I have no access to the traditional AT&T billing software. Similarly, tomorrow you go to your bank to deposit your deposit money, right? You go to bank to deposit money. So the teller, they use a software. It is very internal in nature, right? You and I have no access to it. So why, what is your role here? What is BA role here? Okay, BA will work with the users, gather and define comments. Right? BA's role will be to work with the users or right? So this is internal users. So internal users, in summary, if you look at it, okay. So it's you are working as a BA for AT&T. The product is developed by AT&T internal team, a software team. The users also work for AT&T, and none of us outside people don't have access to this software. So BA's role here is to work with the users to gather and define requirements. So this is a very simple thing. Then what is the external users? Users are external in nature, right? So what is that? So let's look at it. Okay. So now slightly changes. You still work. Your role is you are still, your role. You still work for a company XYZ. So okay. So let's take in this case, let's say webinar. We are currently using webinar. Where are the users? From if all of us are with web, so let's say from a webinar perspective, where are the users? The users are outside the company. Right? So the users are, think about it, we are all out, we don't work for, webinar. Whereas in the previous case, internal users, the billing users, they were working at AT&T. The tellers work for Bank of America, whereas here users are outside the company. Who developed the product? Software engineers. They all work for mostly webinar. So the product, the development is done by webinar, but the company's users or customers are outside, right? It's the same point actually, right? If you take webinar, eBay, Yahoo Messenger, Amazon, so Google, for everyone, they will close the company if we stop using the product. So in the earlier case, BA was working with the users to gather requirements. So what do you do here? This is where your role changes. Okay. So your user requirements, earlier you were collecting it from the users. Here, source of the user requirements. Okay. It is this is the most important point. Mostly in many cases or most cases, you work with a person called subject matter expert. Subject matter, he or she is an expert on a particular subject. Why you would work with us? So here you are, webinar. Let's take webinar, which all of us are using. Okay, Nandu is a BA. Where are my customers? You guys are outside the company. Millions and millions of them, right? Millions and millions of them. you are outside. I have no contact with you guys. I have no contact with you guys. So what am I going to do? Okay, there are millions of them. I cannot say, oh, okay, here is, let's say, I'm just making up a name. Smita is here in New York. Let me call her. No, I don't have any direct feedback, interaction with you. And you are just one of the users, and you may just use this product occasionally. I want an expert. I want an expert, who understands online meeting. Who do I go to? Somebody will have to act as an intermediary. So that person is called subject matter expert. He is an expert on a particular subject. So let's call this guy as Tom. So Tom, is a guy, is a veteran. He's a 20 he's got 20 years experience in developing internet products. Right? In developing internet products. So Tom, what he does is he used to work for, let's say, other competing product is called WebEx. He used to work for WebEx. He understands this meeting, the GoToMeeting or webinar, WebEx type of products very well. Okay, Nandu is a BA, so he has got a reasonable amount of BA experience. He has been with webinar for about 2 years, but Tom is an expert. Nandu is more like a junior to senior BA. So I am going to rely on Tom to define requirements. Tom is going to more or less act like an user. But Tom is not only going to rely on his or her own knowledge of the product, knowledge of online meeting product, he is also going to receive customer feedback. Customer feedback like webinar is yet to change. I have told webinar, honestly I have given them feedback. Why do you give us this color? Okay. Sometimes they will even give it as a default color. In earlier phases of the product, now I have an option to choose any color that I want. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, no option. One day it will be blue, one day it will be red, one day it will be gray. I used to hate it really when I used to get gray color. So I did give a feedback to them. No, this will not work. Don't give me gray color. Like that, customers will be giving feedback. Competition. Okay, both the BA and SME is keeping an eye on the competition like WebEx, Microsoft Meeting, IBM Meeting, etc. That is another source of requirement. Also, you need to look at your own vision. Nandu has a vision too. So Nandu has some ideas too. Okay, Nandu has some ideas that can be incorporated, and company's vision. Company has certain vision for the product, but all these requirements are routed through Tom and Nandu. So together they will work to define requirements. So if we go in as a BA for a product that is external in nature, so in many places you will find subject matter expert. When there is no subject matter expert, a BA will be expected to act like a subject matter expert. You should have enough knowledge of the product. Okay, if you are someone who has worked in the banking industry for a long time, for example, you specialize in mortgages, you will have enough knowledge and you become a BA, well and good. You are a subject matter expert as well as a BA. Okay, so this is external. Let me post all this. Okay, that's okay. The next one is the third party. Okay. Okay. Now so products. If you look at open your laptop and see. If you look at your laptop. So these days it's made by Dell. HP is going out of business with laptops. Then IBM / what is that called? The Chinese company. Anyway, I'll just put it as IBM and a few other companies. Right. So if you take Dell, so if you open the laptop, its brand name is Dell. But many of their parts are coming from Taiwan. Their screen may be coming from Sony. So what they are using is all third-party products. So they get the third-party products, assemble into their own product, and sell it, under their brand name. Car. Take your car for example. Okay. Car may be Honda, but engine may be coming from someone else. many parts may be coming from different companies. Okay, so that is what third party is. Okay, you are working as a BA or a product manager for a leading company that integrates a component to their into their own product after buying the component from a different company. So your company is a payroll company, but you don't specialize in tax. Tax keeps changing a lot. So this company buys a tax component from a different company and integrates that into their own company and sells their payroll software. Sorry, into their own software and sells their own payroll software. Okay, so this is another model, right? Entirely different. So what do you do? If you are a BA working in this type of model, so what do you do? Okay, so that is the question. Okay, so if you are a BA here, your role is a BA, right? So your role is a BA, product is payroll. So third party product is a tax software, right? So your role as a BA, there are two roles here. Within your own company, you work with the user as me to develop payroll product. You also work with third party vendor product person, product/BA person to integrate tax component into payroll software. Okay, so is it clear? So now you are going to work with an external company, okay, to develop this product. We talked about, okay, types of users. Okay, types of users. Okay, we requirement phase I said has three types of requirements: user, functional, and non-functional. Before even discussing about these three types of requirements, I talked about the types of users. So what is a user requirement? In generally speaking, what is a user requirement? Maybe your question, right? So what is a user requirement? So that is what we have to discuss now. Okay. So user requirements. What do you mean by user requirements? What are the characteristics of a user requirements? What are some of the things you can tell us about user requirements? Whether internal, external, or third party, generally speaking, user requirements is defined by a user or a subject matter expert, okay, or a customer. It is a problem statement, meaning user has a problem, is looking for a solution. User requirements are normally high level in nature or lack of detail. That is very nature. You can ask me why. That is the very nature of user requirements or customer requirements. Okay. So for example, I can give you several examples, but generally speaking, suppose, you want a website. You will now, you own a business, right? Scenario is you own a business, right? You want a website for your business. So you probably will give a 5-minute overview at best, like this. Maybe some more details in a professional document. If you want a home, okay, so, we also talked about a flying car. The features of a flying car, initially when you have the idea, it will be very high level in nature. So user requirement is kind of an idea or a concept. The other way of looking at it is idea or a concept. When you want to build your home, it's also the same thing. You'll say I need a 2300 square foot home, 5 bedroom, 4 bath, etc. Okay. So that is the nature, So also the other example I give students is a patient to a doctor. So to your doctor, a patient is a customer or one who uses his service. So how, when patient, so patient goes to a doctor and defines a problem. Sir, I have a fever. High level, if you look at it, high level in nature, defined by the customer, it's a problem. Sometimes it's an idea or a concept. Many times it's just a problem that a user has and is looking for a solution. Okay. So this user requirements can be called customer requirements or client requirements, and IT is full of confusing terminologies. But understand the concept from a user perspective. The user or a customer has a problem and is looking for a solution, so defines the problem. Okay. So the naming convention from company A to B to C to D can be different, but underneath it's all the same concept. See, so we started off with requirement phase, 3 types of requirements: user, functional, non-functional. Then we looked at types of users. Before even looking at what is user requirements, we looked at internal, external, and third-party vendors and the role of a BA in each phase. Okay. Then we also looked at what is user requirements. Okay. Now we are going to look at what is functional requirements and non-functional requirements. So let's go on to look at functional requirements. So like I said earlier, so we looked at user and all this. Now let's look at functional requirements. So what we are going to look at is functional requirements. Okay. Whatever requirements were earlier given were not enough. Earlier it was defined by the user, now it is defined by a BA based on with input from it is based on SME and user. Right? SME user, you will work, he or she, the BA will closely work with the SME and user, SME and or users to define functional requirements. Earlier it was a problem statement, and I still retain the one. So now it is a more like a, so since the user is looking for a solution, now it become a solution statement. Hey, high level in nature, lack of details. I gave you the patient-doctor example. Patient goes to your doctor with a high level and describes his or her problem at a high level. There isn't enough details for the doctor. So doctor will interview the user. Okay, doctor will interview the user or use other means to gather information from the customer. Lack of details, lots of details here. When functional requirements are defined, it will have lots of details. So it's no longer an idea or concept, so it is developed into a solution statement. Okay, so functional, you look at the word function, forget about IT, function. Okay, something is functioning, car is functioning or not, it is running, so those are all functions, right? Okay, so functional means something that is happening. So what is going to happen and the happening part is defined here. Okay, so user requirements leads to function. These are all kind of redundant points. For example, earlier I used this example. Right? These are all user requirements. Not enough information. So in each case, functional requirements will have to be developed. So for example, for number 5, what are the functional requirements for number 5? It will take hours and hours to develop. For example, if it is about us page, so information needs to be recorded in detail about products and services, right? Management team, right? Management team details, right? Company history, including when the company was started, where it was started, who started it, all the accomplishments, right? All these details are needed. These details will be part of, the functional requirements. Same thing here, flying car. I talked about it earlier. If you say you need a powerful engine, not enough details. Okay, if you need a 5-bedroom with 1 master bedroom, that's you have to give details around master bedroom. Patient to your doctor, same thing. You have a fever, not enough information. You have a headache, doctor will have to interview you and gather all the details. Okay, user requirement leads to functional requirements. Always remember that. Okay, so there is also this concept of business rules. Concept of business rules. Business rules are nothing but rules used by a business examples. I can give you examples, dress code. But dress code will not, normally 99% of the time, will not, this dress code will not impact on. But what will impact on IT system? Things like payment restrictions, like what card can be used, type of card, minimum payment, special discounts. So these are called business rules. These are all called business rules because these are rules are laid down by the business. Okay. Today I can come up with my own rule, right? So anybody over 70 years old do the course for free. It's my, I can be, as long as it's legal, I can do it. Right? The example I give is, I cannot say that, oh, if you're a woman, I'm going to charge you 10% more. No, that's illegal. That's violating local, state, federal laws. Okay. All right. So these are all some of the concepts around functional requirements. The important takeaway from here is business rules are also functional requirements, just a special type of functional requirements. There's nothing big there. Understand the fact that user requirements, lead to functional requirements. If you have a about us page here, if you want an about us page, then corresponding requirements will have to be defined. If there is no about us page, then this requirement should not be defined. A BA shouldn't think that, yeah, cool, it is cool to have an about us page, let's do it. No. Unless user says, hey, I want an about us page, you shouldn't do it. So that mapping. So if there is user requirement 1, user requirement 2, okay. So let's say this is user requirement 1, this is user requirement 2, this is user requirement 3, there is user requirement 4. Right? There are 4 requirements. So when you write functional requirements, all the functional requirements should be mapped back to one of these 4 requirements. One or more of these requirements. So there is a relationship. A builder cannot just like that, he or she cannot think that, oh, it's nice to have another bedroom. Let me go ahead and build another bedroom. Builder cannot do that because the owner never wanted it. If owner doesn't want it, you don't do it. Same thing here. If a product person, user or subject matter experts defines 4 user requirements, then all the functional requirements should map back to these requirements. But going back, so understand the fact that the examples are given here. When you click X button, the window should close. This X button. So that is a normal functional requirement. Total quantity is equal to, total price equal to quantity times price per item. Normal requirement, functional requirement. But when business rule, look at the business rule examples. Okay. All right. So there isn't enough time to cover non-functional requirement, but I will give an overview. Let's look at non-functional requirement, and traditionally I'll end the class with a story. Okay. Non-functional requirements. Functional and user requirements are relatively simpler to understand. Non-functional requirements are a little more complex, and I have developed a decent understanding. I wouldn't say I have a perfect understanding, because it's still there is a very fine line. Okay, there is a very fine line between functional requirement and non-functional requirements. There is a very fine line. In fact, when I was a BA, product manager, IT, in none of the places, I worked at IBM and many major companies, we have never differentiated between functional and non-functional requirements. They were called just requirements. But more recently, there is a kind of a tradition has been set up. I think some companies separate them. But you need to know from a concept perspective, interview perspective. Okay, so you need to know these things. Okay, so once again we'll take a product-based approach. Okay, so how will you describe a product? For example, a website. How will you describe a website to your friend? So potentially you can do these things: simple to use, easy to use, right? Fast, secured. Okay, looks nice. This is what IT people call as look and feel is good. If you look at it, you feel good. That's what look and feel is good. Right? Looks nice. So what you are doing here is you are describing quality and behavior of a product. So non-functional requirement, in my opinion, again this is my opinion. Okay, so I feel I'm close to being correct, but I'm also looking for improvements. Okay, so improvements on my understanding. Okay, so all these things, you put in requirements, you add requirements to enhance the quality or behavior of a product. Okay, add requirements to enhance quality or behavior of a product. Okay, you add requirements to make it make the website work faster. That is called performance requirements. So that's what non-functional requirements is: quality and behavior. Okay, so we'll discuss this one in detail in the next class. But associated with every product, every product will have or should have user, functional and non-functional. So to get a deeper understanding, I give this story. Okay, to me, human beings, let's call them as HB. Okay, so it is a product, in my opinion, created by God. So one day, the story goes like this: one day, God was dreaming, and in his dreams, wanted to create human beings. So it's like a Facebook. God, there are no users, right? God is the owner, going to create it. So defines user requirements, high level in nature, right? User requirements are high level, lack of details. So God came up with this idea to create human beings. So he said, let there be human beings with. So then he defined functional requirements. Functional requirements means more details. But every functional requirement that you write point back to user requirements. Okay, so we said eye, hands, nose, hands, etc. So let's define one for hands. So the story will go like, let there be 2 hands with 5 fingers. So non-functional requirements. Non-functional requirements is something that describes the big quality and behavior. Okay, product is created. Once a product is created, how the product should behave. Well, you know, what is considered as who is considered as a quality human being. Okay, okay, all not. Okay, if you look at it, the same analogy is used for software too, which is nothing but a product. So software is a product, human being is a product, so we can perfectly use this analogy. So once you understand this, then IT non-functional requirements are also relatively simpler to use. Okay, something that non-functional requirements are nothing but something that enhances the quality and behavior of a product. Okay, so that is what I have understood by non-functional requirements. Okay, so so user requirements, high level, lack of details, functional requirements, lots of details, but every functional requirement is that you write, if there are 100 requirements, all the 100 requirements should map back to one or more user requirements. Similarly, non-functional requirements, which talks about quality and behavior of a product, even these requirements should map back to user requirements.